Will Algaefix fix the algae problem in my pond? Let's see. I'm going to be putting this Algaefix into my pond. I think the directions talk about being like a small koi pond or something a lot smaller. Mine's not a big pond, but it's about 1/8 of an acre, and I got a real problem with algae in it. And so I don't know what the ratio is. It says for a 1/4 cup of this for 600 gallons. Well, my pond's a lot more than 600 gallons. So I'm just kind of guess on it and maybe use half of it. And to administer it, I'm going to put it in one of these bottles that you hook up your hose to and spray it. And this is a crud cutter bottle. I emptied it out, and I'm just going to use this for the bottle part of it and pour up about half of it, and we'll see how it does. All right, we got the hose hooked up to this applicator, and it's got the mixture of algicide, Algaefix in it. It's not crud cutter. But anyway, this is my pond. It's not real big. It's bigger than a koi pond. As you can see down there, it's already got that orange algae scum in it. It starts collecting as it gets hotter in the afternoon. So we're gonna spray it now and see what happens. I'm finishing up my spraying here, and basically, I don't know what the ratio is exactly. I used about 12 ounces of the Algaefix diluted in this 32-ounce bottle, but as it's being sprayed, it's being diluted even further. And I've been spraying for a good while, I don't know, maybe 10 minutes. So it's being diluted even further. And you can see some of the algae down there. It's kind of being pushed back, but that's mainly just from the current of the sprayer. But after I finish with this, and it's almost done, I'm gonna they say to aerate it. So the only method I have of aerating is just turning on my water hose on the spray nozzle and let it go. And I've been doing that to try to break up the algae before I use this, so it doesn't just cover the surface of the pond. So after I finish with this in a minute, I'm going to just turn my water hose on and just let it hit there and make an attempt to aerate it. So we'll see how this works. See whether this ratio was right or whether I need to do more, or maybe I did too much. All right, I got my water nozzle on here just to aerate it. And it's just hitting the water, trying to break up the algae and aerate it. That's all I've got to go on. So I'll run that most of the day, and at times I'll switch to different positions on it. But you can still see some of the algae in here, and we'll give it a day or two to take effect, and we'll report back to see how it does. This is the day after I applied the Algaefix to my pond, and as you can see, it looks okay now. I don't see any algae, but what typically happens is that I get the algae in the afternoon when it gets real hot, and it gives a better environment for the algae to start growing. It looks okay now. We had a storm last night and got a lot of rain into it, but I had my hose and I ran it from the afternoon all the way into about 10 o'clock that night when we got back home. So this is just the first day after the application of it, so we'll see how it does. We'll document it and watch it for the next couple of days. It didn't seem like there was more activity in the pond, a lot of splashes, like fish and stuff, and I see a lot of tadpoles. You can see them coming up to the surface to gulp some water. But we'll see if this works. We basically applied about 12 ounces of the Algaefix, diluted into the water, and we'll see what happens. But my pond is low. We hadn't had much rain lately. You can see down there at the pipe, it's not even up to the outlet pipe. So it's been low and kind of stagnant. And I think that contributes to the algae growing, and it's so stagnant. There's not a lot of water going through here. There's not any water going through here. And that, and it being August in Georgia, which is pretty hot. So we'll see. All right, this is the day after I sprayed the Algaefix on here, and obviously you can see right here that the algae is growing. I'm not going to rush to judgment. This is the first day. Maybe it takes time. Maybe I didn't put enough in, but it's not looking good right now. But we'll give it some time. We'll see. I'm going to try doing a second application of the Algaefix, and this time I'm going to put 4 ounces into this squirt bottle and just squirt it on the shallow end of the pond, and we'll see what happens. I'm going to put a second application of Algaefix in this pond. I put about 4 ounces of the Algaefix in this squirt bottle. I'm going to apply it to the shallow end of the pond where it has so much algae. After I sprayed that bottle of algicide, about 4 ounces, into the pond, most of it on the shallow end, I turned the water nozzle on to aerate it and agitate it and try to get things worked in. So I emailed API, the maker of Algaefix, and asked them some questions, and this is the response that I got. They asked me, how deep is the pond? He said a pond that's 1/8 of an acre and 1 foot deep would be 5,375 gallons. So if you have 5,000 gallons for each foot of depth in your pond, you need about 500 milliliters. So they're saying it looks like I'm underdosing, that I need to add in more. They also said that the Algaefix works best on submerged algae in the water and submerged surfaces, and that if it's floating on the surface, I need the API waterfall cleaner powder directly on the exposed algae. So I responded to it and asked them some more questions, so we'll see what happens next. But at least they responded. This is day 3, and I'm not seeing any improvement. All right, this is my pond after several days. It doesn't look like the Algaefix is doing anything. It's just completely covered with surface algae and scum. This is the day after I sprayed the final 16 ounces or so of the Algaefix into this pond. And best I can tell, it hasn't done anything towards reducing the algae. I still have just as much in there. So I'm gonna call this experiment a failure. Algaefix is just not the right thing to put in this pond or a pond this size. So I guess I wasted that $20. I gotta find a different kind of algaecide that's gonna fix all this algae. As you can see, about a week later, I still have lots of algae in my pond. I spoke with the people at API, the people that make the Algaefix, and after discussion, they were saying that this pond is too big for what they do. They mainly just do small ornamental ponds, koi ponds with bottoms that don't have mud, earthen, or unlined bottoms. But for the most part, it wasn't what I needed to fix my algae problem. They said it just wasn't for this kind of application. So pretty much a failed test. Maybe I should have known that. The video I watched showed that it did fix it. So live and learn.